Ladies and gentlemen, stop right there. Before you make another excuse, before you tell yourself another lie, before you convince yourself that next year will be different, I need you to understand something. Inspirational Arsawu isn't just another year on the calendar. It's your year. And you don't owe success to your family. You don't owe it to your friends. You don't owe it to your boss. Why you owe it to you? Listen up. We're standing at the threshold of Arsienling Asawur. And I've got a question that's going to shake you to your core. What do you owe yourself? What promises have you made to the person in the mirror that you haven't kept? What dreams have you been carrying around like dead weight? Because what? You've been too busy making excuses instead of making progress? What goals have been sitting on your shelf collecting dust while you've been waiting for the perfect moment that's never gonna come? Yo, you owe it to you. Not to your mama, not to your spouse, not to your children, not to your friends. While you owe it to the person who's been waiting and not teasing every morning for you to stop playing games and start playing to win. You owe it to the version of yourself that's been screaming from the inside, begging you to unlock your potential, demanding that you stop settling for mediocrity when greatness is literally within your grasp. And I know what you're thinking, E.T. I've tried before. I've made resolutions. I've set goals. I've had dreams. But let me tell you something. You haven't tried. You've attempted. There's a difference between trying and attempting. When you attempt something, you give it a shot, and when it gets hard, you quit. When you try something, you don't stop until you succeed or die trying. Arsienling Arsawu is not the year for attempting. It's the year for trying. It's the year for going all in on yourself. It's the year for betting everything on your potential. It's the year for putting your money where your mouth is and your actions where your dreams are. Because at the end of the day, the only person who's going to be there when everyone else is gone is you. And if you don't show up for yourself, nobody else will. You owe yourself the commitment you've been giving to everyone else's dreams while neglecting your own. You owe yourself the energy you've been investing in other people. This success, while your own goals sit on the back burner. You owe yourself the dedication you've been showing to your job, your family, your friends, but not to your own future. Think about it. How many times have you stayed late at work to help your boss achieve their objectives? How many times have you sacrificed your time to help a friend with their problems? How many times have you put your family's needs before your own aspirations? I'm not saying don't help people. I'm saying help yourself with the same intensity, the same urgency, the same commitment that you show to everyone else. You owe it to you to stop being everyone else's hero and start being your own. You owe it to you to stop rescuing everyone else from their problems while you're drowning in your own unfulfilled potential. You owe it to you to stop being the supporting character in Lloyd, everyone else's story, and start being the main character in your own. And let me be clear about something. When I say you owe it to you, I'm not talking about being selfish. I'm not talking about being arrogant. I'm not talking about not caring about other people. I'm talking about understanding that you can't give what you don't have. You can't inspire others to chase their dreams if you're not chasing your own. You can't motivate people to believe in themselves if you don't believe in yourself. You can't lead others to success if you're not successful yourself. The greatest gift you can give to the people you love is becoming the best version of yourself. The most powerful way you can serve others is by fulfilling your own potential. The most impactful thing you can do for your family, your community, your world is to become everything you were designed to be. But here's where most people get it twisted. They think they owe their success to other people. They think they need permission to pursue their dreams. They think they need approval to go after their goals. They think they need validation to believe in their vision. Wrong! You don't need anybody's permission to become great. You don't need anybody's approval to chase excellence. You don't need anybody's validation to pursue your purpose. You owe it to you to stop waiting for someone else. Yeah. To believe in your dreams before you start working on them. You owe it to you to stop looking for external validation of your internal vision. You owe it to you to stop needing other people's permission to do what you already know you need to do. Arsenling Arsawu is the year you give yourself permission to be great. Arsenling Arsawu is the year you grant yourself access to excellence. Arsenling Arsawu is the year you authorize yourself to achieve. Arsenling Arsawu is the year you approve your own application for success. Arsenling Arsawu is the year you validate your own vision without needing a company signer. But let me tell you what else you owe yourself. You owe yourself the truth. You owe yourself an honest assessment of where you are versus where you want to be. You owe yourself a real conversation about what you've been doing versus what you need to be doing. You owe yourself a genuine evaluation of your habits, your mindset, your actions, and your results. Stop lying to yourself about why you haven't achieved your goals yet. Stop making excuses for your lack of progress. Stop blaming other people for your situation. Stop pointing fingers at circumstances beyond your control while ignoring the factors that are within your control. You owe yourself the truth, and the truth is this. If you're not where you want to be, it's because you haven't done what you need to do to get there. The truth is, you've been comfortable with being uncomfortable. The truth is, you've been settling for less than you deserve. The truth is, you've been playing it safe when you need to be taking risks. The truth is, you've been making excuses when you need to be making moves. The truth is, you've been talking about change when you need to be the change you owe it, not to you to face the truth about your situation and then do something about it. You owe it to you to stop being a victim of your circumstances and start being the victor over them. You owe it to you to stop letting life happen to you and start making life happen for you. And here's another truth you owe yourself. Your dreams have an expiration date. Your opportunities have a shelf life. Your potential has a window. Time is not unlimited. Youth is not permanent. Energy is not infinite. Health is not guaranteed. If you don't pursue your goals now, if you don't chase your dreams today, if you don't act on your vision in Arsenling Arsawu, when will you? You owe it to you to create a sense of urgency around your goals. You owe it to you to treat your dreams like they're life or death, because they are. Every day you delay is a day you'll never get back. Every opportunity you miss is gone forever. Every moment you waste is a moment stolen from your future self. Your future self is counting on the decisions you make today. Your future self is depending on the actions you take right now. Your future self is banking on your current self to make the moves that will create the life they want to live. You owe it to your future self to stop procrastinating and start participating in your own success. But you also owe it to your past self, the person who dreamed the dreams you're carrying, who set the goals you've been ignoring, who believed in the vision you've been neglecting. That person who stayed up late planning, who sacrificed immediate pleasure for long-term gain, who made investments in their future with the expectation that you, the current you, would follow through. Your past self believed in you. Your past self invested in you. Your past self counted on you. You owe it to that person to honor their faith, to validate their vision, to justify their sacrifice. Don't let your past self's dreams die because your present self is too lazy, too scared, or too comfortable to do the work. You owe it to you to develop the discipline that your goals require. You owe it to you to build the habits that your success demands. You owe it to you to cultivate the mindset that your dreams necessitate. You owe it to you to acquire the skills that your vision needs. Discipline isn't punishment, it's freedom. Discipline isn't restriction, it's liberation. Discipline isn't about what you can't do, it's about what you can do when you develop the self-control to do what needs to be done, whether you feel like it or not. You owe it to yourself to become the type of person who does what they say they're going to do, when they say they're going to do it, how they said they would do it, regardless of how they feel about it. You owe it to you. You owe it to you to wake up early. You owe it to you to stay up late. You owe it to you to work when you don't feel like working. You owe it to you to push when you want to quit. You owe it to you to keep going when everyone else stops. You owe it to you to be uncommon among the common. And let me tell you what else you owe yourself. You owe yourself the right to fail. You owe yourself permission to make mistakes. You owe yourself the freedom to be imperfect, because failure isn't the opposite of success. Failure is the foundation of success. Every failure teaches you something. Every mistake shows you what doesn't work. Every setback sets you up for a comeback. You owe it to you to try and fail rather than never try at all. You owe it to you to risk looking foolish in pursuit of something meaningful rather than playing it safe and remaining insignificant. You owe it to you to swing for the fences, even if you might strike out, because you can't hit a home run if you don't step up to the plate. Fear has been stealing your dreams long enough. Doubt has been robbing your potential long enough. Insecurity has been hijacking your confidence long enough. In Arts-Hitting Arts of War, you owe it to yourself to feel the fear and do it anyway. You owe it to yourself to acknowledge the doubt and move forward regardless. You owe it to yourself to recognize the insecurity and act with confidence anyway. Courage isn't the absence of fear. Courage is feeling the fear and acting in spite of it. Confidence isn't the absence of doubt. Confidence is having doubt and moving forward anyway. Success isn't the absence of obstacles. Success is encountering obstacles and overcoming them anyway. You owe it to you to be courageous. You owe it to you to be confident. You owe it to you to be successful, not because it's easy, but because it's necessary. Not because it's comfortable, but because it's required, not because you feel ready, but because you are ready. And here's what you need to understand. You've been ready. You've been prepared. You've been equipped. You've just been waiting for permission that you don't need, for approval that you don't require, for already possess. You owe it to yourself to recognize that you have everything within you right now to start moving toward your goals. You don't need more time. You need better time management. You don't need more money. You need better money management. You don't need more opportunities. You need to create opportunities. You don't need more connections. You need to be more connected to your purpose. You don't need more resources. You need to be more resourceful. You owe it to yourself to stop waiting for perfect conditions and start creating progress in imperfect circumstances. You owe it to yourself to stop looking for ideal situations and start making the best of real situations. You owe it to yourself to stop postponing your dreams until everything aligns perfectly and start pursuing them with everything misaligned. Perfect timing is a myth. Perfect conditions are a fantasy. Perfect circumstances are an illusion. The perfect time to start is now. The perfect place to begin is here. The perfect person to make it happen is you. You owe it to yourself to accept this reality and act accordingly. In Art Sailing Arts of War, you owe it to yourself to become obsessed with your goals. You owe it to yourself to be consumed with your dreams. You owe it to yourself to be addicted to your growth. You owe it to yourself to be fanatical about your success, because anything worth achieving requires obsession-level commitment. Average people have casual interest in their goals. Successful people have obsessive commitment to their goals. Average people work on their dreams when they feel like it. Successful people work on their dreams, especially when they don't feel like it. Average people make excuses for their lack of progress. Successful people make progress despite their excuses. You owe it to yourself to be successful, not average. You owe it to yourself to be exceptional, not typical. You owe it to yourself to be outstanding, not ordinary. You owe it to yourself to be extraordinary, not mediocre. You owe it to yourself to be uncommon, not common. And let me tell you something about being uncommon. It's lonely at first. It's misunderstood at first. It's criticized at first. It's questioned at first. But you owe it to yourself to be willing to lie, be lonely if that's what it takes to be successful. You owe it to yourself to be willing to be misunderstood if that's what it takes to be exceptional. You owe it to yourself to be willing to be criticized if that's what it takes to be great. Not everyone will understand your vision. Not everyone will support your dreams. Not everyone will celebrate your success. And that's okay. You're not doing this for everyone. You're doing this for why you. You owe it to yourself to stop needing everyone's approval and start approving of yourself. You owe it to yourself to stop seeking everyone's support and start supporting yourself. Be your own biggest fan. Be your own strongest supporter. Be your own loudest cheerleader. Be your own toughest coach. Be your own best friend. Be your own greatest believer. You owe it to yourself to have your own back when nobody else does. You owe it to yourself to believe in your dreams when nobody else will. You owe it to yourself to fight for your goals when nobody else cares. Because at the end of the day, when you're lying on your deathbed, looking back on your life, you won't be thinking about what other people wanted you to do. You'll be thinking about what you wanted to do. You won't be wondering if you lived up to other people's expectations. You'll be wondering if you lived up to your own potential. You won't be asking if you made other people happy. You'll be asking if you made yourself proud. You owe it to your future self on that deathbed to be able to say, I gave it everything I had. I pursued my dreams with relentless passion. I chased my goals with unwavering determination. I lived up to my potential. I became everything I was designed to be. I have no regrets because I held nothing back. That's what you owe yourself. That's what Arsène Lupin is about. That's what this moment is for. This is your opportunity to make a decision that will change everything. This is your chance to commit to yourself in a way you never have before. This is your moment to say, enough is enough. I'm done playing small. I'm done settling for less. I'm done making excuses. I'm done waiting. Today, right now, in Arsène Lupin, I'm going all in on myself. You owe it to you to make Arsène Lupin the year everything changed. You owe it to you to make this the year you stopped talking and started walking. You owe it to you to make this the year you stopped dreaming and started doing. You owe it to you to make this the year you stopped wishing and started working. You owe it to you to make this the year you stopped hoping and started hustling. Your dreams are not too big. Your goals are not impossible. Your vision is not unrealistic. What's unrealistic is thinking you can achieve them without total commitment. What's impossible is expecting results without putting in the work. What's too big is your fear, your doubt, your excuses, your procrastination. You owe it to yourself to shrink your fears and expand your faith. You owe it to yourself to minimize your doubts and maximize your determination. You owe it to yourself to reduce your excuses and increase your effort. You owe it to yourself to decrease your procrastination and amplify your action. In Arsène Lupin, you owe it to yourself to become the person your goals require you to be. You owe it to yourself to develop the habits your dreams demand. You owe it to yourself to cultivate the mindset your success necessitates. You owe it to yourself to acquire the skills your vision requires. Who do you need to become to achieve your goals? What habits do you need to develop? What skills do you need to acquire? What mindset do you need to adopt? What behaviors do you need to change? What patterns do you need to break? What relationships do you need to end? What relationships do you need to begin? You owe it to yourself to answer these questions honestly, and then ACT on the answers immediately. You owe it to yourself to stop analyzing and start actualizing. You owe it to yourself to stop planning and start performing. You owe it to yourself to stop preparing and start producing. The world doesn't need another dreamer. It needs more doers. The world doesn't need another planner. It needs more permers. The world doesn't need another talker. It needs more workers. And you owe it to yourself to be the doer, the performer, the worker that your goals require. You owe it to yourself to outwork your competition. You owe it to yourself to outperform your past. You owe it to yourself to outlast your obstacles. You owe it to yourself to outsmart your setbacks. You owe it to yourself to overcome your circumstances. And when you finally achieve what you set out to achieve, when you finally become who you were meant to be, when you finally live up to your potential, you realize that the greatest reward wasn't the achievement itself. The greatest reward was becoming the type of person who could achieve it. The greatest prize wasn't the destination, it was who you became on the journey. You owe it to yourself to enjoy that journey. You owe it to yourself to embrace that process. You owe it to yourself to love that growth. You owe it to yourself to celebrate that transformation. Because the person you become in pursuit of your goals is more valuable than the goals themselves. So I'm asking you right now, as we stand on the threshold of Ursenling Arsawu, what do you owe yourself? What commitment are you ready to make? What promise are you prepared to keep? What sacrifice are you willing to make? What price are you ready to pay? Because everything has a price. Success has a price. Excellence has a price. Greatness has a price. And you owe it to yourself to be willing to pay that price. You owe it to yourself to stop looking for shortcuts and start taking the proven path. You owe it to yourself to stop seeking the easy way and start choosing the right way. The right way is the hard way. The proven path is the difficult path. The successful route is the challenging route, but you owe it to yourself to take it anyway. You owe it to yourself to choose the harder path because it leads to the better destination. You owe it to yourself to embrace the struggle because it leads to the strength. Every champion was once a beginner. Every expert was once an amateur. Every professional was once a novice. Every master was once a student. And they all had one thing in common. They owed it to themselves to keep going when everyone else quit. They owed it to themselves to persist when everyone else gave up. They owed it to themselves to endure when everyone else surrendered. You owe it to yourself to be cut from that same cloth. You owe it to yourself to have that same persistence. You owe it to yourself to demonstrate that same endurance. You owe it to yourself to show that same commitment. You owe it to yourself to exhibit that same determination. Ursenling Arsawu is your year, not because the calendar says so, but because you say so. Not because circumstances are perfect, but because you're committed to creating perfect results from imperfect circumstances. Not because everything is aligned, but because you're aligned with your purpose. You owe it to yourself to make this declaration. Ursenling Arsawu is my year. This is my time. This is my moment. This is my opportunity. This is my chance. And I'm not going to waste it. I'm not going to squander it. I'm not going to let it pass me by. I'm going to seize it with both hands and squeeze every drop of potential out of it. That's what you owe yourself. That's what this moment demands. That's what your future requires. That's what your destiny is waiting for. So stop waiting and start creating. Stop wishing and start working. Stop hoping and start hustling. Stop dreaming and start doing. The time is now. The place is here. The person is you. You owe it to yourself to make it happen. You owe it to yourself to make this year count. You owe it to yourself to make this the beginning of the rest of your best life. Ursenling Arsawu is calling your name. Your goals are waiting for you. Your dreams are depending on you. Your future self is counting on you. And most importantly, you are counting on you. Don't let yourself down. Don't disappoint yourself. Don't abandon yourself. Don't give up on yourself. You owe it to you to show up. You owe it to you to step up. You owe it to you to level up. You owe it to you to rise up. You owe it to you to wake up and realize that this is your moment. This is your time. This is your year. Go get what's yours. You owe it to you